So in this video we'll be taking a look at the features of MeloGen version 1.09, and I'm going to show you how I would go about making an original track from scratch using MeloGen to make all of the melodies and chords and pads and arps and everything like that. So you don't need to know anything about music theory and you're going to be able to come up with really nice original melodies and chords. So let's dive in. So I've opened up MeloGen and I've set my project tempo to 170. I've opened up a couple of VSTs here that I'm going to use for my lead and piano later, so I've just used Nexus, but you can use whatever you've got. So I've just used Nexus for both of them. So on MeloGen, this is what we'll see when we first load it up, and the playback is synced to FL Studio or whatever program you're in. So all we need to do is press play and then we'll be able to hear the sound. And we've got different preview sounds down here, so if we wanted to change it to like a guitar or a pad or something like that, we can just change it in here. But I'll stick with the piano sound for now. This is the default chords, but we can choose a different scale in here, so we could go like C sharp minor. Or we can hit this button here and that'll give you a random scale every time. So if you don't know what scale you want to work in, or you just want to like throw the dice at it and see what it comes up with, then this is the button to press. So that'll give you something new every time. Not only will it give you a new scale, but it'll generate 4 new chords. So here we've got the chord drop downs, so you can manually select chords. Like if you wanted, you could have them all as the first chord in the scale. Or you could like draw in your own chords basically by picking the chords from the list. Or we could go like 90s dance style and use the sus chords. Doesn't work so good in the minor scale, but if we go to a major scale, so that one might be better on a different chord. Yeah, loads better. So once we're happy with our chords, we don't need to touch these buttons anymore. We can forget about all of this top section for now and move down to the bottom. So we've got our chords, so what I'll do is make a new pattern and I'll just rename this to chords. And then we can click and drag this icon over here, drag and drop it onto the piano. I can mute the sound in MeloGen so it's not going to make any noise anymore, and then I can hear it running through Nexus. And I could easily swap this over for pads or whatever, so if I go into pads, let's just choose one of these pads. Okay, so let's go back onto the empty pattern and turn the sound back on MeloGen. So now that we've got the chords, we can go and change mode, and we could do something like chord riff, and then it's going to give us like a happy hardcore 90s dance sort of pattern. And if we wanted a different rhythm, we can just click generate pattern, and then it's going to change like the rhythm of the notes around. It'll still be the same notes in chord riff. Like if you have a look, it's the same notes every time, but they've just got a different like stutter rhythm pattern. So let's see what else we've got. So I think I'll stick with that one for now, and I'll just drag and drop it over here, and then I can rename that as piano riff. So I'll go on a new pattern, and then I'll rename this melody, because we'll make the melody now. So dead simple, all we need to do is change mode to one of these melody modes. Any of these top ones are melodies, so if we just do full melody and then have a listen to that. And we'll just click generate pattern, and then that's going to give us a different melody each time. And we've got different melody modes, so I could go simple melody, and then that's just going to give me a note on every beat, so just like on the downbeat. We go to the dinky melody, and then that's going to be a bit faster. We can go to extra melody, which is just like full melody, but it's a bit more experimental. So if we look at full melody, it's using mainly the notes from the chords. So if we go on chords, if you look at the position of the notes here, like the lines of the notes, when we go on full melody, it's kind of tracing those lines from the chords. So we've got bottom, middle, top note of chords, bottom, middle, top note of chords. So yeah, it's just copying the chords basically. So as long as your chords sound good, then your full melody is always going to sound good note-wise. So it's just a matter of getting the right rhythm for it, because it's just copying, it's copying the chord notes exactly. But if we go into extra melody, then that's going to use a wider range of notes. It's going to pick some extra notes from the key scale, so it's not just chord notes anymore, which makes this a bit more experimental, because some notes might not sound as good as others. So this one takes a little bit of playing with, but it's going to give you more interesting melodies. So here is where the max pitch setting comes in handy, because if we turn this icon on, this will show us the range. So if any notes land in this range, they're going to get shifted an octave down, which means 12 notes down. So if I go into the chords, we'll be able to clearly see what it's doing. So at the moment it's set to 62, and if we hover over here, this top note is 62. So if we made the max pitch to 61, then this top note is going to get dropped down an octave. And you can use this in any of the modes. So if we drop it, right down to 60, it's not going to affect any more notes because there was none in the 60 range. If we move it up to 65, they're all going to get moved up. So I'll just show you the difference. We'll listen to it at 68, and then we'll drop it right down. And if we drop it right down to 60, or somewhere in between, so that's going to give us a little bit of a different vibe, because if we're on 65, we can see that this note that changes between these two chords goes higher here. But if we were to drop it to here, then that note is going to go lower instead, so it changes like the layout of the chords. So that doesn't sound quite as good, in my opinion. So if we do it like this, it might sound better. Yeah, it sounds better to me anyway. So we can go and apply this to one of the melodies. So let's go in extra melody, and we'll turn this on. So if we have got this set right up to 70, then the melody has got all this range to spread out, and it's going to pick notes from anywhere in here, which is going to give you more of a wilder melody, because it's like it could be a note down here, and then it's a note right up here, like an octave or more above. So that makes the melody sound quite wild and maybe not as composed. So let's have a listen to this. So it sounds quite good, but it's not as like grouped together as it would be if we went low, where the notes are much closer together. So if we change this right down to 60, let's try this. Let's try it on the full melody mode. So this is only using notes from the chords, if we remember. And down low. Or somewhere in the middle. Yeah, so this setting makes a big difference. It's going to control which area of the piano the notes are going to appear on. So because we've set this in the middle, they're now kind of in the middle. When we set it at the top, then they're right at the top. And if we set it down low, then they're going to be down low. So let's go back onto extra melody, and we'll just go somewhere in the middle, I guess. Like, we'll try 65. And I'm just going to generate a few melodies until I find something I like. I think I'll try a little bit lower down, maybe 62. That'll do, I think. So let's drag this over to the lead, and then I can mute MeloGen, and we'll have a listen through Nexus. Could knock that up an octave. And then let's go on a new pattern, and we'll generate another melody. Let's try a different mode, so let's try trance melody. So let's drag that on the lead, and then we'll mute this. And I'll just do one more. Let's try full melody mode. Generate, and I think I'll take this higher up to the top so that our melodies are on different ranges. Let's turn the volume back on. Yeah, cool. So let's drag that onto the lead. So we've got 3 melodies, so let's have a listen to all of them. And I'll just check they're all on a good octave. Yeah, good. And then we'll go in the chords, and let's just pick a nice pad sound for this. Yeah, that'll do. And let's place this down. So now we've got 3 melodies and we've got chords. What what I'll do as well is go into MeloGen and change this to bass mode, so we get just the bass, and I'll just drag this onto here for now, and I'll just go and get a bass. I'll just set this bass up quickly, and then I'll put the bass notes down here. I'm going to make sure MeloGen's muted, which it is, and then let's have a listen to this. I'll make these notes a little bit shorter. I think I'll maybe bring this up an octave. Yeah, it's good. So I think I'll just get rid of the chords for now, and we'll listen to the melodies with a bass. And I suppose we could go and put a kick in as well. So I'm just going to zoom in a bit. Just going to trim this kick to half a beat. And I think I'll just put a little fade on here so there's no clicking. Set my snap to a beat, and then I can just draw this kick all the way along. Might need to turn the volume down a little bit. And yeah, let's check this out. So there's 3 unique melodies made for our track. We've also got chords, and we've also got a piano riff if we wanted as well. So if I change that over to a piano, grand piano or something like that. So you can see it's really easy to make all of the different melodies and midis that you need for your track. And you can either just drag and drop them from here, or you can export the MIDI into a folder so that you've got the MIDI saved on your computer. And yeah, it's as simple as that really. I don't think there's much else to say. You can change sounds in here, but this is just for the preview. I would always recommend running it through your own VST after, so you don't need to have loads of MeloGens open. Yeah, so that's it. I hope this video has been helpful, and I really hope MeloGen makes your workflow so much faster and helps you to make original music that maybe you couldn't have done before. Yeah, I just hope it makes your life as a producer much easier, much quicker for you to get into starting a song, or maybe finishing a song where you were stuck for ideas, because now you can go and create endless amounts of new melodies and patterns to put in there. So yeah, I hope you really enjoy it, and thanks a lot for the support if you've bought it and tested it and give me feedback, because I've tried my best to include all the ideas that you guys have been giving me, and if you think of anything else, just let me know and I'd be happy to consider it for the next update, which of course, if you have bought MeloGen, all the updates will be free for you in future, and they'll get emailed out as soon as they're ready.